Hello, this is Stephen and Jennifer with Iowa Backyard Farmer, coming to talk with you today about cucumbers that we are growing in our garden this year and also for our plant sale.
And this is more cucumbers than anyone needs in their garden. So this is not a category where I'm like, grow one of everything like the peppers. This is more of a category of pick the one that's right for your situation.
Yeah,
Or
so
three or
yeah,
five.
as many as you need. But cucumbers are a common, I don't know, they seem to have issues. And so we've tried to come up with a list of cucumbers
You
that
said
is going
that
to
so
disease.
diplomatically.
It's,
They died, and we were like, "What
yeah.
is the problem?" We're like, "Why can't we keep them going? What causes their abrupt demise?" And so you went on a side quest, and you're like, "We will fix this problem."
Let's try to figure out what the issue is, and let's prevent it from happening again. And so we've got a lot of different cucumbers depending on what issues you may be having in your garden.
Yeah.
So before we jump right into the varieties, let's talk about a couple of big terms.
Yeah, that'll help you make good decisions.
That will help, and it's going to explain those, and you can understand why you would maybe want one over the other type.
Yeah, so if I was, I'll just put Stephen on the spot. If I was going to grow like a standard straight 8 cucumber, what is am I getting?
So you're going to get a plant that I would say is monoecious. That means it has male flowers and female flowers on the same plant. And you're going to have an insect, some kind of pollinator, that will take the pollen from the male, get to the female. That's the only way you'll get fruit.
And that's a good system generally. I mean, that has worked for a long time. It will not work for you in a covered tunnel or indoors or anything.
Yeah.
But there are a couple benefits to that, and there's a couple of minuses. So what are my
So what you'll get, and we hear about this, and I see people posting about it online, is at the very beginning of the season, you're going to get maybe like 40 or so male flowers to begin with.
You tend to get male flowers first.
And so if you're anxious and you're not familiar with what to look for to be able to tell the difference between a male flower and a female flower, you may be thinking,
you might call me and say, I have no cucumbers.
Yeah, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. I have flowers and no cucumbers. And so eventually you'll get the females will come along, the insects will come along,
and it works out beautifully, and you'll get a bunch of cucumbers. But the problem is that if you stress that plant, you're going to default to more male flowers. So, for instance, if my temperature were to go high, my plant might revert to more male flowers. Yeah. If my watering is off, if there's plant stress like wind or low light, or you've stressed it with water, my plant goes into like self-protection mode, which is not let's make a cucumber mode.
Yeah. So with that type, you're likely to get a harvest over a long season. Yeah. With maybe some gaps in between based on that stress.
Yeah, based on that stress. So you might get some parts where it's really hot that you're not going to get cucumbers. And so you'll get roughly over a whole season, you'll get roughly the same amount of male flowers and female flowers, but they might not all show up at the same time. You'll probably have a cluster in the middle where you're like, oh yeah, it's perfect, let's make cucumbers, right?
Yeah. So by comparison, there are now varieties that are gynoecious, which produce mostly female flowers.
Yeah.
Which is kind of handy. I mean, if you want to have a big production, get a whole lot of cucumbers in a short time period, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
But that ideally would only work if you have a cucumber that is parthenocarpic.
Yeah, so if you were growing in a big field production, you could get mostly gynoecious flowers, and your company that is selling you seeds would know to mix in some other varieties for pollination, and you could grow those in a field and get a whole bunch of cucumbers. But if you're growing them like one or two at a time in the home garden, you might not want to grow a separate plant just to pollinate your gynoecious plant. And so if you go parthenocarpic, like you were saying, then you have an added advantage.
Yeah, and that is that they actually don't need to be pollinated. And so
you could grow them in a high tunnel.
You can grow them, you can cover them with a net, you can
keep the bugs out.
If you want to do something to keep the bugs out, you can grow those that are parthenocarpic.
You could grow them indoors.
Yeah, without needing to have that extra, worry about, do I have enough male flowers? Do I have
enough insects?
And so that's a really nice feature. They are a little bit more expensive to get seeds with those kind.
I think we buy a lot of seeds for our plant sale every spring, and always the fun thing is which is our most expensive seed of the year, and our most expensive seed of the year is a cucumber.
It's frequently cucumbers.
It's frequently a cucumber.
Yeah, those that are both gynoecious and parthenocarpic.
Yeah,
We're looking at
so
$1.50 per seed.
Mostly
in many cases.
female flowers, doesn't need pollination, and they're really good. But because they don't produce a lot of seeds, most of those are going to be nearly seedless. Their seeds are kind of expensive because even if you were to plant it, like if you planted a bunch of like we do out in the backyard, and it was getting some pollination from somewhere else, you're going to get some seeds, but they really aren't trying to make a lot of seeds, and so that seed is expensive.
Yeah. A downside of parthenocarpic and gynoecious is, generally speaking, you're gonna, maybe it's an upside.
It's an upside and a downside.
your harvest season may be a little bit more concentrated. Which, if you're gonna make, for example, you want to make a bunch of pickles to can, maybe you don't want to have 3 months of a harvest season. Maybe you want to get all that done in 4 to 6 weeks. Something that is gynoecious and parthenocarpic will help you with that.
But if I was gonna just want to plant one cucumber and not have to replant it, and I just want it to be that spot, I think cucumbers overall are still not a super long-lived thing because stress seems to take them out. But a monoecious one would be good if you wanted a slow and steady.
If you want it slow and steady through the entire season.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, let's jump to our slicing cucumbers first. And so, what are we offering this year? Let's talk about a couple of different English type of cucumbers.
Yeah. So these are going to have smoother, thinner skins, and they are usually a really nice flavor. We've got 2. What have you liked this year? Yeah.
So Early Pride is one that we've offered for a couple of years, and the key thing for that is it's just a smaller one. So if you want an English cucumber that's like 5 or 6 or 7, 8 inches.
Yeah, so you don't
Early Pride is perfect.
So you get that smooth skin, so you're not getting the spines, but maybe you're in a smaller family group and you're like, I don't need this much cucumber.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that one has some powdery mildew resistance, which is nice in this category. And that tastes good.
Yep. So, but on the longer end of an English cucumber, Sweet Success is one that we've had for a long time.
Yeah, and this one is very popular on our plant sale. People like this one. It's very sweet. It's a very sweet English cucumber. It's bitter free. It doesn't get powdery mildew for me, and it's parthenocarpic. It doesn't need that outside pollination.
Yeah, so if you've known to run into issues with other insects, then you could just cover it with a net and
keep them out.
you'd still get a good harvest off of that.
Yeah.
So moving on beyond the English ones, more of a just kind of a standard slicer, Corinto is one that we've brought in this year. We trialed it last year.
I was really impressed. So I fall in that category of I would really like to just pump out some production. And this for a slicer gave me really, really good production.
Yeah. So Corinto is both gynoecious and parthenocarpic. And so you get a really big harvest over a little bit more concentrated time period.
Which is nice if you're trying to keep it from dying from insects, wind, disease.
Yeah, from everything else. Has a really good disease resistance package as well. One of the reasons why we like it, and for this type of system as a whole, is if we plant those early, we can pull them out, because if they start tapering off mid-July because we've had such a big earlier harvest.
And July tends to be really hot.
And July tends to be hot, and it's hard on everything else as well. We can pull them out and we can put something else into that spot and basically double crop.
Yeah, and I've got a nice big crowd of cucumbers, and I can get a nice crop of something else.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So that's a really good slicer, 48 days. So it is the earliest of our slicers, of our big slicers.
Comes in, and it was really very productive. I was really impressed.
Yeah. Next one up is Marketmore 76, and so this one, some people are calling it an heirloom already. It is 40.
Do I get to be an heirloom if I'm older than Marketmore 76?
So, again, it came out in 1976. Does not, I guess it does have pretty good disease resistance for that time. Had good flavor.
Yeah, and it was a good standard one. You still see it grown today. It is monoecious, so you're gonna get that. You're gonna have to work through it. I have male flowers, female flowers, and it's gonna work out that way. But it's been a good one.
It's been a really good one. Yep. Next one up is new for us this year. It's called Southwind Slicer, and that's one that we trialed last year as well.
And this was one of my very favorites from our trials last last year, and particularly I like about this one that it has bacterial wilt resistance. So if you have ever gone out to your garden and been like, I had a beautiful cucumber plant here yesterday, what happened? It died overnight, and nothing looked wrong with it before. It could be bacterial wilt. So cucumber beetles will carry this disease in their gut, and then they're going to come munch on your cucumber plant, infect your plant, and they just die overnight, and that's really discouraging.
Yeah, and so there's not very many cucumber varieties that have that resistance. Um, Southwind Slicer is one of them, and
And we've sorted several for this particular reason, because it is a problem here. I hear about it every year.
yeah, and years where the spring is warmer, you're more likely to have the issue. And so as I look at our winter that we're going through, we'll probably plant more of these in our own garden, simply because the cucumber beetle, which overwinters in the south and comes up, when you have
we'll get here faster.
If you have a warmer spring, they will get here faster. So,
yeah. So, and it tasted really good. It grew really well. I was impressed. We had a whole bunch of this. I was giving them away at church and other places. I'm like, who needs a cucumber?
Yeah.
Right.
So that one worked really well. Continuing on the slicer, let's go to the more of the Asian type. So we've got a Japanese one that's called Shintokiwa. That really good flavor. If you've never tried a Japanese style cucumber,
they have like a butteriness to them, where that it's like got a little more flavor.
Yep. So, and then the next one is Painted Serpent, which some people also call a snake melon.
Yeah, and this one is fun to grow. It is humongous compared to even my longer, the Japanese and English cucumbers. It's kind of got a little striping on it. It's not really a cucumber. It's really a melon that tastes like a cucumber.
Yeah, technically.
And, but it is really sweet. It's nice and crunchy. It's fun to grow. It's snake melon, because if you grow it on the ground, it's going to curl up.
Yep.
So if you want a straight cucumber, trellis it so it hangs down. It's like 500 years old or something.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And then one other slicer before we jump to another category that we've had for a long time is called Diva. And Diva is one where I'm like, is it a snacking one? No, it's probably a little too big, but is it a slicer? Probably. It doesn't require pollinator, so that part is nice. But in terms of flavor and productivity, this has been a favorite for a lot of years.
Yeah, it's been a favorite. And I will, since you mentioned snacking and slicing cucumbers, the range on these, when you get a package of cucumbers and it says it's a 6-inch cucumber, it's not going to stop at 6 inches, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to stop at 10 inches. For some of these, they're telling you it is the best flavor at that thing, because you wanted to pick it before the seeds get big, before it gets all watery inside. So note that when you pick it at the ideal spot. Don't wait for it.
Yeah. So let's talk about things that we're going to trial this year. So these are not on our sale list, but we will trial them, and who knows, maybe some of them will show up on our list next year.
Yep.
So first one is a brand new one to Johnny's called Mojito. Slicer, they're saying 5 to 6 inches is the perfect time for those.
So it's going to be a little bit shorter, but it's bright green.
Yeah, it's a completely different color than what we're used to seeing.
And that made it fun.
So we will give that one a try. That one is both gynoecious and parthenocarpic. So
it should be really productive.
Next one up is an English sweet long slim. So another English cucumber.
So that'll go up against our other Early Pride and our other English cucumber, and we'll see if we like it better.
Yep. Next one that we're going to trial is, I pronounce it as Unagi or Unagi. And this one is kind of unique. It is a Bait Alpha by Long Asian Cross. And so Bait Alpha comes from Israel, and it is known as a very smooth skinned, very thin skinned.
You see them in greenhouses.
Yeah, and so you cross that really smooth thin skin with a really long Asian one, and what you end up with is a really long, super thin skinned one. And it's one of Johnny's most popular varieties, but we've just never tried it before because it didn't fit nicely into any category. But we will give that one a try. And that one.
So you're going to pick that one about 9 to 12 inches. They're saying maybe even up to 14 inches, that it would still be a delicious cucumber.
Yeah. Yep.
So
looking forward to that one. It is gynoecious and parthenocarpic, so probably a big producer from that one as well.
Very good.
Next one we will try is a Japanese one called Sashimi. which I think is an improvement over several of the other Japanese ones that have been around for a while. And it's also gynoecious and parthenocarpic, which is kind of unique. None of the other Asian ones have those traits.
Yeah.
And then last one, and this is kind of looking backwards, we're going to try China Jade.
Yeah, because somebody from our video last year was like, this isn't my favorite one. And it's the oldest cucumber on this page. I think that they're saying, I don't know, it's 1,800 years old.
Yeah, they're saying this one came, brought from Western China to the east during the Han Dynasty in 216 AD.
So it was somebody's favorite. It will go nicely in the set with the other long cucumbers, and it's supposed to have spectacular flavor. And one of you guys spoke highly of it, so the reviews were good. We're going to give it a try.
Yep. So let's transition to the kind of the snacking type. So snacking / cocktail type of cucumbers. So something that you'd just be more than happy to just eat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be peeled, doesn't have to do anything else. So you can just go out and eat it.
Bite size for your convenience.
Yeah. So the first one on our list that we are selling and we've offered for several years is called Green Light. And it's a fairly early maturing one.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's really fast. It's probably on the earliest side. That's a 40-day one. Get a cucumber quick.
Yep. So tastes good. Doesn't need an outside pollinator. So it's
like a parthenocarpic.
It's parthenocarpic, 2020 AAS winner, and people have enjoyed that one for a lot of years.
And it grows really well. We sell a lot of them. They grow really well every year.
Yep. The next one up would be.
Wait. Did we say how long to pick these? Because we're in the snacking side. So again, people will call me and they'll be like, "This isn't a beautiful cucumber. You need to pick these." Snacking ones, when they're small, they'll keep getting bigger.
So that one you should pick around 3 to 4 inches.
Yeah.
And so it will continue to get bigger, but it is not anywhere near as good if you let it get 5, 6, 7 inches.
Yeah. So cucumbers aren't better later.
Yeah.
You want to pick them when they're perfect.
Yeah. So next one up then would be Picolino, which is another snacking cucumber. This one I like because it's on a shorter vine. So if you want a cucumber in a container, this would be an option.
Or a small garden.
Yep, or a smaller garden. This one I would pick at 4 to 5 inches, and it is gynoecious and parthenocarpic.
Yeah, and so somebody else had commented on this one too. I've seen it in several places. It is a really good producer. But we got a lot out of it last year. We kind of did it in our second crop phase, and this was the one that was the standout winner.
Yeah, yep, by far. So another one that's a snacking type, and this was new to us. And it is called Quick Snack, and it's a little one, that little tiny compact plant that actually plan to grow inside over winter here as well.
So we're trying to stretch the season. Maybe this is your goal too, and you're like, well, anybody can have cucumbers in the summer. I want cucumbers in the winter. You could grow this one inside, or if you had a small balcony garden or something, this would be a nice one to grow. Nice snack size, really compact, doesn't need a pollination, so you could cover it.
Yeah, so 2 to 3 inches.
Yep.
So
really small. Pretty small.
Yep. And the last one, it's hard to know, does this fit in this category or not, is the mouse melons. And so in terms of plant, it's like the opposite of what the last one was. These plants kind of take over. But
it's like the teeniest little thing, but these vines are very vigorous. They will grow all over. They will cover a trellis. They have kind of a crunchy, sour flavor. They're really fun. They're kind of a novelty. If you enjoy them, they're kind of fun. They look like little watermelons.
Yeah. Yep. So I left those in that category.
People like those every year. They don't make the best pickles.
Yeah.
To me.
No, they don't. They end up a little squishy.
They are a little squishy on the inside.
Yeah. But in terms of what we're trialing this year, so not for sale, but what we're trialing, and we'll see what happens for this next year. A couple that are really small that I don't know if they're too small for us or not, but we've got one called Baby and another one called Mini Me.
Right. And so, I mean, if you take out your ruler and you're like, I need to pick this at 2, maybe 3 inches, that's really small. And then if it gets beyond that, I can put you a picture up of one that we're going to do next, the Adam one, where I picked it at different phases, and they get more seedy and they're just not as delicious. So that one may be too small, but we'll see.
Yep. So we'll give it a try. And then got 3 cocktail ones that we're going to try. One is called Qwerty, which is the seeds are really, really expensive. So I want to make sure that it's perfect before we put that on our sale list. But it's a little cocktail, 3.5 to 4 inches. Really good disease resistance and both
gynoecious and parthenocarpic.
Yep.
So we should get a really good yield off of that one. But again, I think that did make, was that our most expensive or?
So yeah, so that one is about $1.50 per seed.
Yeah.
And so
it's a lot.
Yeah.
But if it does amazing things, we'll see.
Yep. Next one, and this is a new one to Johnny's where we're getting the seeds at. It's called Gimlet or Gimlet. And that one, kind of like one of the others you talked about, is kind of a
bright green.
Bright green.
It looks fun. It looks fun. We could try it.
So yeah, 4 to 4.5 inches, also gynoecious and parthenocarpic. And then the last one, and this one's quite a bit older. It's called Iznik. It's 3 to 4 inches. It's about 10 days later to maturity than the others. So we'll have to see how that really does compare at the end. But it's another cocktail. 3 to 4 inches was when you'd want to harvest that one.
Yeah, so we'll put these together because what I have been caught out doing is planting my little baby ones by my bigger ones and then thinking my baby ones are going to get bigger and being disappointed. This would be a good place to not put them together.
Yeah, and the benefit of that particular one, it is a much more compact plant.
Yeah.
And so you can put it in places that you wouldn't want to put the others.
Yep.
So let's switch gears and go to pickling cucumbers.
Yeah, so this is a really fun category for me. I do a lot of gardening for production reasons so that we're eating year round from our garden, and making pickles is a really delicious way to use a cucumber for the off season, right?
Yep. So first one up is a gherkin style called Adam, and we've grown Adam for 2 years now.
I've been impressed.
And have been really, really impressed. It is.
It's really early for a pickler. It's, I think, our earliest pickler on our list at 47 days.
Yep.
They're going to be small because you're picking them in that really small size.
Yeah, 2 to 3 inches is where you get ideally. And yes, they do grow bigger than that.
They grow bigger, but they'll get seedier. But they're really, really productive. The flavor on them was good. They're kind of fun if you're going to do like little pickles. Like little pickles.
Little babies or something.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, but that plant again is gynoecious and parthenocarpic, and I think that was one of the first of that combination that we had ever grown. And
I was like, how is this so much more productive?
Crazy productive, and
they stay really crisp when you pickle them. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, so I really, really like those. Decent disease resistance package, but a little bit different than the next ones. The next one up is Commonwealth Pickler, and so this one comes from the same breeder as, was it the common?
Oh, the Southwind Slicer.
Southwind Slicer.
Southwind Slicer, and I really have liked. You talked to the guy who is working on these, and I have really, really enjoyed what they're doing with these.
Yeah. So the key things for this one is bacterial wilt resistance. So if you've ever seen cucumber beetles bothering your cucumbers, this would be one that would likely survive that. And it's described as one of the best flavor for fresh eating of a
pickling
pickle
type. Yeah.
So looking forward to that one. Doesn't have any of the fancy parthenocarpic or gynoecious or anything like that. So you will need to leave it out to be pollinated, but looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Next one up is County Fair Improved, and this is one that we've had on our list for a lot of years, primarily because it is bacterial wilt resistant. So basically,
a plant that is alive can give you cucumbers, which is an important feature. But it really does good. I don't think that one needs a pollinator either.
No, it doesn't.
So you could cover that one if you wanted.
Yeah.
But we've had really good luck with that one.
Yeah. And next one up is Excelsior, and this is new on our list this year, but we have trialed it before.
Yeah, we grew it last year.
And the pickler that is both gynoecious and parthenocarpic. So if you want a really big production,
it kind of comes on and we're like,
you get a whole bunch, get your canning done,
get it ready to go.
Plant something else afterwards. And that one has good heat tolerance. Can be grown in a hoop house, which can get pretty hot.
Yeah, and so if you were somewhere, if you did not have this bacterial wilt problem, this one has a really strong disease package.
Yeah.
It doesn't include that one, but I was really impressed. Yeah. I was really impressed.
Yeah. So then moving on to those that are more of a bush style. So
Mhm.
we've got Pick-a-bushel,
Mhm.
which we've had for several years, and it's if you want to grow pickles
Yeah, so
in a
it's, you have
container.
long vine and short vine. So you have long vines and they're going to go trailing over this. The bush type are nice because they stay close by.
Yeah, it's not just a bush, but they're short vines.
Short vines.
Yeah, and then the last one up here is cucumber Saladmore Bush, which is kind of a dual purpose. You can use it for pickles if you pick them where they're like, I don't know, 3 to 5 inches. But if you want to use it as a slicing cucumber,
It makes a beautiful slicer.
wait
I
till
think
it gets
this
a
is
little
one
bigger.
of our most popular ones on our sale list.
Yeah.
That we sell a lot of this one.
Yeah, so very common. So it just kind of depends on what all you want to use it for. And on our trial list, we've only got one Pickler on our list, and that's because it came to us as free seed.
I know. You have to try it, right?
And so this one's called Crispy Crunchy, which is was it Cornichon? How do you pronounce it?
Cornichon?
Cornichon type. Comes from Europe, and so not very common here in the U.S. It was hard to find seed of it other than the free packet that came to us, but kind of intriguing.
So we're going to try it.
So
I'm going to try it. You pick this one smaller too, right?
Yep. So this one's 3 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
That's what it says. So anyway, so that's what we are both selling and growing in our own garden this year, and also what we are trialing. Curious if there's anything that you think we've missed that you think we should add. And if you got any questions or comments, please put them down in the comment section below, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.